Pass Around the Smile is like your go-to friend, the one that lifts you up and backs you till the end. She's there to guide and inspire, challenge and teach, and remind you that your best self isn't out of reach. Self-development, manifestation, self-love and more, it's time to trust the process more than ever before. Welcome to Pass Around the Smile, the podcast. I'm your host, Cleo Massey, and I am so glad you're here. Let the magic begin. Hello, my smileys, and welcome back to the Pass Around the Smile podcast. As always, I'm excited for this episode, and I hope you are too. As you can read from the title, I'm sure. This episode is called Don't Wait for the Magic, Create It. The universe will respond. I have some personal stories that I think will excite you, and if you're watching the video podcast right now, there's Crumpet in the background. You gonna go to sleep, Crumpet, or are you gonna pitter-patter around, sweetie? Who knows, little Crumpet baby, beautiful girl. Oh my God, hi guys, hi. Okay, where do we even start? Okay, I think I know where I want to start. I want to start by reading this quote. This was a quote that was shared to me by a friend, and it just hit home. So it says, "What a privilege to be tired from the work you once begged the universe for. What a privilege to feel overwhelmed by growth you used to dream about. What a privilege to be challenged by a life you created on purpose, and what a privilege to outgrow things you used to settle for." Oh my gosh, I really should have looked up who said this. I think it was on a podcast. This guy read it out and my friend shared the video with me, and it just hit home for so many different reasons. And even this morning, even though I had heard this quote a few days ago and really took it in and really tried to embody it, it just goes to show how busy life can get and how we can snap back into reality and forget things that we have just heard or learned from or felt something from. Because this morning I had this podcast to record, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this podcast. I love creating the episodes. I love everything about this podcast. However, it's the hardest work I've ever done, because to come up with the creativity of what is the content of the episode, to then set the camera up, the microphones up, the GarageBand up, to get it all nicely ready to send off to my editor. Even like Mariah, my editor, is probably going to be laughing because the camera right now is doing the same thing that it's been doing at the start of this episode, and I kept stopping the episode. Things like my tripod, it just doesn't work properly and it's just going on a diagonal. But you know what? We're just going to have to leave it, I think. And I found myself not looking forward to filming and recording the episode, and almost being like, oh, I'll get that over with soon, or I'll get that out of the way soon. Like, it was something that was kind of weighing on me, like a really big task to do for the day. And I think that's okay, because it is a big task. Like, it's okay to be like, oh, this is going to take a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of time. Yes, but I once begged the universe for this to be my reality, and I do genuinely love it. If anyone has any good tripod recommendations, please let me know, because the one I have is shocking, and I bet I'm going to have to keep stopping this episode to fix it. Anyway, small problems. But yeah, this beautiful quote, passage, whatever we want to call it, really kind of slapped me in the face a bit. And while for the majority of the time, I am so grateful and so present. And I am a person who likes to reflect a lot of how far I've come, where I'm at now. And I'm fully aware that I am in a place now where I am so fulfilled and so happy. And I know that I'm where I need to be and where I should be. I'm in alignment with who I am, with my values and my beliefs. It took a while to get here, but I did, and now I'm helping other people do it too. Like, it's just, for me, I'm so fulfilled, but I still have those days, those moments, those hours where I'm grumpy, where I'm dreading doing a part of that, where I'm stressed, where I'm anxious, where I'm nervous, where I'm expecting too much of myself, where I'm getting stuck in comparison or jealousy. Like, and it's all normal. It's all very human. But a passage like this, which I'm going to read again now, just want you, not if you're driving your car or walking, don't close your eyes. But if you are just listening, just close your eyes. If you're driving, just concentrate on my words. What a privilege to be tired from the work you once begged the universe for. What a privilege to feel overwhelmed by growth you used to dream about. What a privilege to be challenged by a life you created on purpose. And what a privilege to outgrow things you used to settle for. There's just so much within that. And no matter where you are, you will be able to relate to some of that. And you might be listening to that quote thinking, but I'm not where I'm begging the universe to get me. But 2026 is your year, and it can be your year if you choose it to be your year. Where is your perception lying at the moment of 2026? Are you looking at it like it's going to be a long year, a hard year, a year where you have to hustle, a year that's going to be very similar to this year, a year where you create goals and you feel good for 2 months and then you fall off the bandwagon? Or are you perceiving it as a year that could bring so much growth and excitement and positivity and new opportunities? Are you open? Because my examples in this episode are all around becoming really open and actually making space for the universe to bring me opportunities, but B, asking for help and surrendering the idea that it doesn't just have to be me who helps myself. This will make sense soon because I'm going to unpack it. But what a beautiful passage. And I really had to remind myself of it this morning because we all have things that are hard. However, my example, I get to record this podcast. I get to sit down in my beautiful little Pass Around the Smile office, which used to be my childhood bedroom, and I get to sit down with the microphone that I could afford, with the iPhone that films in such great quality, with my beautiful iMac just like right there recording my voice. Like, it's all so easy, and I've built this. I have an audience that are going to listen to this episode. I get to do this, not I have to do this, but I was in a I have to mindset this morning. And yesterday I was in a I have to go to Pilates mindset because I hadn't been for like so long. I get to go to Pilates because I get to move my healthy body. I am able to get on a reformer and move my body. How lucky am I? How lucky I am to feel the endorphins I get from exercise. How lucky I am today that I get to sit down and do this podcast for work. And I created this work for myself. It's what I used to beg the universe for. Here I am, yet this morning I was in a mindset of I have to. But I get to. It is an absolute privilege. So just a reminder for all of us. Speaking of perception, I wanted to talk about our perception of our lives, of things around us, of other people, experiences, because I think moving into 2026, and we're all in this together, right? We're coming into December now. I am going to slowly but surely help you get really excited for the best year yet. And of course, I'm designing a New Year course, which you'll be able to download, which honestly is going to be so powerful and transformational. It's not even funny. And it's only going to be $60. And it's a full 3-day course with so much packed into it. So make sure you check back. You can do it wherever you are in the world. I was thinking how our perceptions have the power to change our experiences. And you can think about it as like, actually Hugh Van Cuylenberg talks about it a lot because I'm going to get the story wrong, but the kind of gist of it is he went overseas to work with these children in need. And this child that he met was the most grateful child and in the world. Like, he was just smiling and he couldn't believe that the sun was shining and that the grass was green, and they had this really crappy playground, essentially. Crappy compared to what we have here in Australia, or if you're in the UK or America, whatever. Apparently this playground was like, it was awful. It consisted of like a broken swing and something else. And this little boy kept saying to Hugh, dis, and he meant like this, but he said dis. And when he said dis, he meant like, how cool is dis? Like, wow, dis, and like pointing to the playground. And it's such a beautiful story because in that moment, Hugh was like, oh my God, he is so genuinely grateful for this absolutely tiny, broken playground where, look at what we have. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you have a device. You have access to internet. You are abundant. And it just goes to show that our perception has the power to change our experiences. Now, Hugh looked onto this boy and realized just how happy this boy was, genuinely happy to be him, to be where he was, to be surrounded by what he was surrounded by. We have the choice to do the same. Some days it's going to be harder than others. If we're sick, if we're going through heartbreak, if we're grieving, of course. But day to day, where does your perception lie? Because if you are looking at something thinking, or if you're going to work, right, and you're just like, oh, I have to go to work, like it's just going to be so stressful, there's so much to do. Oh my, you get to go to work, you have a job, and if it's really that bad, then you also have the power to change that. And before you say, no, I don't because I have a family to feed and there are no other jobs out there, yes, there are other jobs out there, and yes, you can make positive change, you can create positive change. You might notice that maybe I think I'm becoming a little bit like giving a little bit more tough love on this podcast as we move through the years, because I think you as my community, we're growing together, we're learning together. And I think there is a time to be kind to ourselves and gentle and slow. I don't think you should hustle and move forward all the time. And you shouldn't definitely not be positive all the time because that's toxic. But other times I'm kind of like to myself even, grow up, Cleo, or get over yourself or get over it. Like that's a small problem. Or actually, Cleo, you have the choice to change this. Don't be lazy. Don't let those limiting beliefs or the fear stop you. So I hope you appreciate that the tough love, I don't mean to be like full on, but I want to be that change in your life. Like I want to help you make that change. So yeah, just a little section on perception there. This is kind of along the lines of perception. I just celebrated my 32nd birthday, and the night before, my friend Emily and I, who actually share the same birthday, which is so cute, we're kind of talking about, as you get older, the magic of birthdays is lost. Like it doesn't really feel exciting anymore. And we remember our parents saying like, oh, just as you get older, it's not that exciting anymore. It just changes. And Emily and I both said we remember hearing that, but never wanted that to happen. And now we feel like it's happening to us. And then I said, we have the choice to make this such a magical day. And we also have the choice to lap it up, to let the attention be on us, to let this be a really magical day. Because it's really natural. Someone gives you a compliment, whether it's happy birthday, have a great day, you're a great person, whatever it is, you're a great friend. And it's kind of normal in those moments to like deflect and be like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, it's not a special number. It's not a big milestone. Don't worry. Like, or you get some beautiful big text, right? And you're like, oh God, you've got work to do. You got kids. Like, don't worry about me, silly old me. That kind of mindset, right? And I think as we get older too, we go, oh, I won't do anything for this birthday because it's not a special one. And I'm not saying you have to have a party every year, but what I am saying is I encourage you, whenever your birthday is, whether it's in 2025, the rest of 2025, or if it's in 2026, I urge you to celebrate yourself, to lap up the attention, and to create so much magic in that day, because you are saying to the universe, oh my gosh, I was born on this day and I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be turning another number. Is that how you say it? That sounds wrong. But for me, it was much more about the energy that I was putting out. And then guys, oh my gosh, did I create the magic that day? And now I'm not saying anything like hugely big or crazy happen, because you might be thinking like, oh yeah, but it's all well and good for people who get really big presents or have like this huge party or whatever. Nothing like that. Luke and I, we don't really even do like presents anymore. And also, okay, I'll give you an example. My neighbor came over with a little daffodil flower from his yard. It was like a tiny little flower. But the fact that he walked across the road to give me this flower and say happy birthday, I was like, oh my gosh. Now, I had a choice in that moment to perceive this moment as so beautiful and sacred and special and wholesome, or just to be like, oh, it's just a little flower, like it's just Pete from across the road, like whatever. I chose to see so much magic in that moment, and the magic continued. Then one of my best friends dropped flowers and a cookie around. Like this would be huge for some people. This will just be another thing that happens most weeks for people, I don't know. But for me, it was just such a beautiful moment, and I decided to grab them and grow on them. Then I went to the beach with my friend. It was the most gorgeous day. Nothing crazy different happened. I go to the beach like most weeks with Indy, but I was soaking up the magic in every single moment. And what then happened was the universe started to respond to my energy of just looking around and looking at that tree, at how beautiful it was, and that those birds over there playing that Indigo's loving, even though I'm not a bird person, but just noticing the little things, the beautiful texts I was receiving, instead of just going, oh, it's another happy birthday text, like, yeah, thanks, whatever. I was really reading them and I was soaking them up, and I was going, no, I deserve this love, and I was accepting the love. Now, I don't want this to just be a lesson for birthdays, because when my birthday was over, I said to Luke, I was like, why don't we choose to see the magic in every single day like it's our birthday? And maybe not to that scale, because we do want our birthdays to feel special. But the next day and the next day and the next day, I really made an effort to celebrate the small things, but also just like really lap up the magic in every moment and choose to believe and see and feel that there was magic in that moment. Like Indigo riding her bike, laughing, instead of just being like, oh, she's a toddler, she does it. Like really looking at her and hearing it and feeling it. And it's made me a lot more present. I'm on my phone less. I'm enjoying things a little bit more. I'm laughing, and we all know that laughing brings on, oxytocin and endorphins, and it's all kind of backed by science and energy, and it kind of just all makes sense to then flow into manifestation in what you were trying to bring in how you were trying to feel. So I really hope this is just like a nice little reminder of how you can choose to see your days, how you can choose to see the little things as actually big magical things that are happening to you and around you. A stranger smiles at you. What a miracle. Like, how beautiful. Take that and grow on it. So on birthdays, I get really reflective. So I had my journal out on like my birthday eve, and I was reflecting on my 31st year, and I felt so incredibly proud of how hard I worked in my 31st year. And I really just tried to like lap this up and give myself a moment to be proud of this, because of course the thing that I'm most proud of is being a good mum and a good wife and a good friend. All of that comes first, yes. But I wanted to like give myself some credit around how hard I worked. Now, the proud feeling, it didn't come from how hard I worked. The proud feeling came from enjoying every single second of that hard work. And I sat there and I was like, how privileged am I? How fortunate am I to love every second of my work, of what I do? And now, don't get me wrong. I know I'm saying I loved every second. Of course, there are hard seconds. There are hard weeks. There are hard days. Just 2 days ago, I was like gonna shut down Pass Around the Smile. I'm joking. I would never. But I was like negatively spiraling. I was like, I'm making no money. I can't sustain this. Like, what am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, it was just a moment of reflection where I was like, I'm so proud that I love what I do, and I'm so proud that I created this life, and that it took a lot of reflection and a lot of time to get there, but it doesn't mean it's going to take you a lot of reflection and a lot of time. You may be just around the corner of everything falling into place for you. You get to perceive that that is true for you, and when you perceive and believe, you receive. I didn't mean for that to rhyme so well, but here we are. So anyway, felt really, really proud of that. I think as a mum, if you're a mum listening, and it can go for anyone as well, but especially mums, it's all about your baby, and it's all about how you show up for them to help them grow into a beautiful, kind person. But look how far you've come in other areas of your life that you enjoy, whether it's like fitness or your gardening or your cooking. For me, it was Pass Around the Smile, and to look back at how hard I've worked. And again, like I said, the proud feeling didn't come from that. I'm not that I'm not proud of, but it's not that I'm proud of working so hard. I'm proud more so that I actually slowed down, because I know this can sound confusing and conflicting, but I actually did slow down the most I ever have, while at the same time working the hardest that I ever have, because I've realized that you can do less and attract more. I've realized that you can work smarter, not harder. But I'm just so proud that I loved every second of it, and I hope that can really inspire you too. Okay, so I wanted to talk about how we start to open ourselves up to manifest more abundance. Not only abundance and opportunities, but also help. Like if you are stuck, if you are like, where am I going? What do I need to do? What's the best decision? You just need guidance. These kind of stories and examples are going to help you, I hope. So the first thing is I wanted to feel what it felt like to feel really, really abundant, and I knew exactly what would get me there. It was getting a cleaner. Now, Luke and I have never, ever, ever got a cleaner before. And it's just gotten to the point in our lives where like, we're tired. We have no energy. Our house is getting dirtier and dirtier, and we needed a deep clean. And my brother and sister-in-law got this cleaner, and oh my God. So we paid the money and she was there for 8 hours. So like it was quite expensive, but I was like, Luke, we're doing this from an energetic point of view as well, because I want us to, like when I left that house and left the cleaner in there, and I was driving away just feeling like a queen. I was like, my house is getting clean today. I am going off to work. I'm going to come home to the most beautiful house. And I did. And it felt absolutely incredible. It was such a beautiful way to spend our hard-earned money. And it did so much more than just clean our house, because it did so much for our mindset. Our mindset to be like, we can afford this. Because at the end of the day, you know, when someone's like, oh, I can't afford that. Oh, I don't have enough money for that. But in actual reality, if you looked at their bank account, they can afford it. I've told my parents off for this before, and my mum listens to my podcast, so she'll hear this and probably giggle. Mum will say something like, oh, we can't, well, actually, she will say that it's dad saying this. We can't afford takeaway for dinner. And it's like, but you can, because you have much more money in your account than the $30 takeaway order, but you're just saying you can't afford it because you feel like you shouldn't use your money on that thing. Do you see what message that's sending out to the universe? And do you see what it's doing to your mindset? So Luke and I absolutely could have spent, $500 or whatever it was on many other things that we could say we need or are more important, but we decided to spend that money on this. And for our mindset, it was like, A, we can afford this, and B, we felt so abundant and clean and clear. We were making room for more of what we want. We were saying to the universe, we deserve help. And I feel like everything's been really free flowing since then. It was like an energy cleanse. So anyway, that was really cool. But my point is we get to delegate. We get to ask for help. We are deserving of help. And you can do things that are small or trial things that will give you that feeling of abundance. So let's say that you are someone who really struggles to visualize and get in that full belief of having that certain thing or that amount of money or that dress or the car or whatever. Go and test drive the car, sit in it, feel it, experience it. For us, we're not going to get this cleaner every week or fortnight because that's just not what we're doing. However, by getting a once-off deep clean, it gave us the feeling, and I was able to sit in that and kind of manifest in that moment because I had it done, because I experienced it. So if you are wanting to feel what it's like to drive your dream car, as I said, go test the car, or if you want this beautiful, expensive dress, go try it on. Go try it on. Even go buy it, because I'm sure you have the money. It's just that you're like, oh, I shouldn't, or I shouldn't. A lot of us go, I shouldn't spend this on myself. I should spend it on my kids, or I should spend it on Christmas presents instead. Fill your cup up first and give others the overflow, is a quote actually that my podcast editor, Mariah, showed me, and I love it. Okay, so as this episode comes to a close, even though I still have quite a bit more to go, you know how at the end of every episode, I'm giving you guys updates on the Pass Around the Smile live tour. So there are so many exciting updates from a mindset and manifestation point of view, but it's all within the kind of tour realm stories section. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have come up with a release date. It is going to be January the 11th. Now a launch date. We literally only came up with this this morning. So I don't know if it's going to stay January 11, but as promised, I'm taking you guys along the real BTS of the ride. So at the moment, we've come up with a launch date. So I don't know if I left you on the last podcast. I'm not sure if I had hired my production tour manager yet, but I would love to tell you about her. Her name is Ainslee Bree. She's absolutely incredible. Now, there is a manifestation story on both my part and her part. So I was manifesting because this tour just started to get too big. Like, I was emailing the theaters and I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Oh my God, I was so in over my head. So I knew I needed help. So I was manifesting someone who A, was trustworthy, B, who knew what they were doing within that very specific industry of tour managing in theaters, which is very specific. I was like, is this even a job? And number 3 was very specific, and I was scared of putting this in my requirements, but I was like, the universe will respond. Number 3 was that they already love Pass Around the Smile. Ainslee Bree. Ainslee ticks all of those things, and gosh, does she tick them hard. She is so experienced in tour managing in theaters. She loves Pass Around the Smile. In fact, she has listened to every single episode, and she is very, very, very trustworthy. I have actually known her for years. She was right in front of me. And it's so crazy. And I haven't even told Ainslee this, so she's going to listen, hopefully get all warm and fuzzy and goosebumpy. Back a year ago, maybe more, I did a Pass Around the Smile event at Silk Laundry at Pacific Fair. It was a shopping centre. And a couple of people pulled out because they were sick. And that day I was like, well, I want to fill the seats because it was just a really intimate, really cute workshop. And I hadn't seen Ainslee for so long. And my mum and dad know Ainslee as well, by the way. So could you get more trustworthy when your whole family knows and actually works with this person outside of the theatre? Crazy. And Ainslee just came into my mind. I hadn't seen her in years. I just was like, I feel like Ainslee would really like to come tonight. I texted her that day and was like, are you free tonight? Do you want to come to this workshop? And she was like, yes, and she came. And I feel like all the way back then, the universe was planting seeds for both of us to connect and to have this incredible manifestation come to fruition for both of us. Because guess what Ainslee was manifesting? She was manifesting a meaningful contract. And she's like, this could not get more meaningful, Cleo. She was like, I love this. I love you. I love what you're doing with Pass Around the Smile. She's like, this feels so right. And all of a sudden, our working relationship just was like, boom, magnetic, amazing. And I honestly could not be more grateful for the universe and how a year ago, the universe was planting this seed, and almost it's like I look back and the universe knew that this was going to happen, knew that we would need each other, and like, it's just magical. It's so magical when you look back at all the puzzle pieces falling together. I looked back again at my yearly spread and the cards matched up perfectly. Like, do you remember, guys, like, and if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, you might want to like go back and binge some other episodes, but the New Year card spread, if you haven't heard about that, is basically a card spread that we do with my decks of cards. I have 3 decks of cards for adults, like Oracle decks. And we pull a card from January through December to show us what is coming up for us in the new year. And this is going to be a huge part of my New Year course. So even if you are used to doing your New Year card spread, oh my gosh, I'm creating a ritual soundtrack to actually take you through how to do your most powerful reading yet for 2026. I'm so excited to do it myself. Anyway, remember the year that I fell pregnant and the cards, like you literally, like the months that these cards came out, it was like mind blowing. The same thing happened with this last year. And it just continues to blow my mind. And I'm so excited to do one for 2026 just to get some insight, especially because I know this tour is going to be in May. I'm so excited to see what the tour card is. Well, the May card. Wow, we're going everywhere. But anyway, I just think that dating in your journal, your feelings, your experiences, the synchronicities, and of course the cards that you pull, whether it's a day-to-day reading that you're just doing for that day or that week or your yearly spread. It's so important to look back, because what you realize in those moments is the universe had your back all along. And that's what I've noticed with this beautiful work partnership. And yes, I pulled the companion card, which is like a new friendship, relationship or work partnership is on like the way. And I pulled that card right before I hired Ainslee. Thank you, universe. Okay, so with the tour, it's been a roller coaster already mindset wise. I go through days where I'm like, this is so exciting. I am feeling really powerful to manifest that I can fill the seats and I can create the most perfect show for my gorgeous audience. And then I go through days where I'm like, what the actual hell am I doing? I have just booked a huge theatre on the Gold Coast. How am I going to afford this? How am I going to sell the seats? And I start feeling really sick. And do you know what's funny? I was cooking dinner the other night and this feeling came over me of like, I don't want to say dread, because it wasn't dread. I think it was just pure fear, right? And I had felt this feeling before to this intensity. And I was like, when have I felt this before? Like, because I wanted to show myself, you have felt this before. And then the thing that made you feel like that was actually fine and was a success. And I worked it out. And do you know what it was? It was when I was pregnant. I would get this, like I'd be out at dinner, like enjoying myself. Well, that's a lie. When was I out at dinner enjoying myself? When I was pregnant? Anyway, I was like out doing something, right? Like not thinking about pregnancy or birth. And I would get this whoosh of like fear of like, oh my God, I have a baby inside of me. I actually have to give birth. I have no choice but to give birth. How is this going to go? How am I going to do it? It's going to be so painful. This is the same, because now I've booked the theater. I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this thing. And anyway, my birth was the most beautiful, magical night of my life. And it was very hard. It was also the hardest thing that I've ever done. But my gosh, I would do it over and over and over again to meet my baby girl Indigo in that moment and go up to the stars and all of that. But I have shown myself, I've proved myself that I can do scary things. So in the scheme of all of this, I have started to open myself up to help. As I mentioned, before I hired Ainslee, I was getting so overwhelmed with the workload and not really knowing what to do. And I didn't know where to go for help. And I remembered this story and I actually Googled it to try and get it. And they use God. I'm going to use the word universe, that just because we do it, pass around the smile. So the kind of setup is a man is stranded on his roof and a flood rises. He prays to the universe for help. On the first attempt, a man in a rowboat comes by and offers a rescue, but the man on the roof refuses, saying, "No thanks, the universe is going to save me." So then the second attempt, a motorboat arrives with the same offer, but the man refuses again, saying, "No thanks, the universe will save me." The third attempt, a helicopter flies overhead and lowers a rope ladder. The man refuses a third time, saying, "No thanks, the universe will save me." So the conclusion is that the man drowns, and when he gets to heaven, he complains to the universe or God or Buddha, whoever you believe in. He complains and he's like, "What the hell? I died, man. Like, you kidding?" And the universe's response was, "I sent you a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter. What more did you want?" Now, what I realized in this moment, and I have been here so many times in my life before, when I'm like asking for help and I'm like, "Universe, why aren't you giving it to me? It's not clear." And then I realized like a few days or weeks later, it was right in front of me, is that the help, the assistance, the signs, the synchronicities don't always have to come from forcing, don't always have to be incredibly obvious, doesn't also have to be the end result. It might be steps to get there, and it doesn't always have to come from you. Like, I thought I had to come up with the solution, that I had to find the thing or the person or the result, the conclusion. And I was working myself to the ground to try and understand how and why, and it was getting so exhausting. And then what I did was I opened myself up to the universe, saying, I need someone to help me. I want them to be trustworthy, to love, pass around the smile, and to be specialized in this area of tour production management. when I finally let my guard down and trusted that other people, that the universe could help me, because I was stuck in control mode. I was like, I'm the only person who can do this. I know the way, I know what's right, and I know what also is too hard. And there was a part of me that was like, that person is too hard to find. Like, I'm not going to find that person. But when I finally let go, it was like the universe just responded. And it reminds me that the universe responds to our energy. And the exciting thing is that the universe can respond right that second. You might think, oh, but I've been negative for like weeks or for months, right? So surely, like, if I change my mindset when I stop listening to this podcast, it's going to take a while because things need to, like, you know, get sorted out or fall into place. Yeah, if you believe it. But remember that energy is instant. Energy is right there within you now. The opportunities that you want, they're just energy. It's just energy attracting energy. It can happen instantly. So open yourself up. Let your guard down. And I think the last kind of lesson that I'm still in the midst of learning is that I could have waited until I was ready to create this tour. I am not ready, but I will never be ready. And I know I mentioned this in an earlier podcast, but I'm choosing to create something really big and exciting. And guess what? You have the power to do that too. There is nothing stopping you. When we create, when we open ourselves up for more, the universe responds with more of what we want. But you have to make room. You have to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. You have to believe. You have to try different things. You have to see rejection as redirection. It's honestly so exciting. And as we move into 2026, I want us all as Pass Around the Smile community to have the most electric, magnifying year. And you can start this minute. And my New Year course will really, really help you. I know it will. By the time you're listening to this episode, I'll probably launch the course mid-December because I know some of you like to get stuck into that kind of New Year work in December. But yeah, it'll definitely be out before Christmas. As I said, it will only be $60. It goes for 3 days. It's online. You can do it wherever you are in the world. If you want to smash it all out in one day, in one sitting, by all means do it. If you want to do it over a week, you can. You get access to this course, to the walking meditation. Yes, there is a walking meditation that will only be available to you if you have the course. It's going to be so good. And then the New Year card ritual. And if you don't have a deck of cards, it will still be great for you. But if you really do want to do your New Year card ritual and give this course everything, grab a deck of cards and the course. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Please leave a comment if you enjoyed this episode. The links to my Facebook community, my Instagram, my shop, everything is in the show notes. You guys are amazing. I hope you loved the episode. I'll talk to you soon.